So are art fairs worth it? The short answer is yes, absolutely yes. And I'm going to explain exactly why I think this in this video. Now, I'm a full-time artist. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. I sell my work lots of different ways because you have to diversify as an artist to make money. And so I sell at art fairs, I sell online, I sell commissions, I do YouTube videos where I teach my craft and then I have ads on those. So there's lots of different ways that I'm earning a living as an artist. But out of all of these, art fairs are the biggest source of my income. I love art fairs. They're so fun to do. Now, granted, there are a lot of downsides to them. I mean, they're really hard work. I actually have to hire help to set up my art booth for me because I have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which gives me tendinitis in all of my joints, which really sucks. And so I have to actually hire help to be able to do these events. And I'm in a lot of pain during the events. And so it isn't easy, but I love them because I love being able to show people my work in person, see the looks on people's faces, see kids just light up with joy when they're going through my print bin, seeing all of the different paintings that I've made over the course of my career. It's so much fun to be able to share that with people in an in-person setting. Online, you just don't get that amount of interaction with your customers. But beyond this, I want to tell you a story of how I learned to do art fairs. There were message boards where seasoned artists were talking about what they did to set up their booth. And on one of these particular message boards that I was reading, somebody said they made $10,000 at an art fair. And I was like, seriously, $10,000 in a weekend? And I was amazed. I mean, I was so into wanting to do art fairs at that point. So I got all the stuff I needed to do the art fair. I applied to one that was a local art fair. I didn't know anything about what I was doing, but I just took my art there and tried to sell it. And I ended up making $550 during my first weekend. And now this was a far cry from the $10,000 I had read some artists selling online, but I was still pretty psyched because in my life at that time, to be able to make $550 off of selling my artwork in one weekend, like 2 days of actual work, was really good. It was like working a full-time job for the wages that I would make at the time, but I could do it in 2 days rather than working 5 days. So I thought this was so cool, and I was really into art fairs after that. I started doing 12 to 15 art fairs a year for the next 5 to 7 years, and I still never got up to the $10,000 sales mark, but I would have $5,000 shows, $7,000 shows. Over the years, I kind of thought that the $10,000 show was a pipe dream though, and so I called it my white whale. Every time I would start a new art fair, I would think, maybe this one's my white whale. And so last year, for the first time ever, I caught my white whale. But then I always joke, because I'm an animal artist, and I would never actually like fish for an animal or harm an animal in any way. I love animals too much. So I joke that I caught my white whale, I hugged it, and then I released it off into the ocean to live a beautiful, happy life. After this, I didn't know if I would ever get my white whale again, but surprisingly, this spring, I had 2 shows that reached white whale status. It's like I hit art fair gold. And so if there's anything that I can tell you is that if you do this, you try really hard. I mean, I started off with only making $500 a show. Now I can somewhat regularly make $10,000 a show. It took me 10 years to be able to do this, to be able to develop the inventory that I needed to do it, to know how to do sales, to get all of my art booth set up, to get everything honed in just right to be able to do this. But you can do it. It can be an amazing opportunity and income for you as an artist. So if there's any advice that I can give you starting out, is just to start with your first one. Don't have your expectations really, really high. Have them fairly low. This means that any form of a profit on your first show is an absolute success. So take it as a big win, because it is. And then take what you learned off of that art fair, your first one, and then try to improve each art fair after that. It's just like when you are creating artwork. You make an artwork when you're first starting out and it's not all that great. But then you think, well, hey, I liked the color scheme, or I liked how I did the eyes in this piece, or whatever. I liked how the landscape turned out, but maybe the lighting and the shadowing and stuff I put in there wasn't the best. So then the next piece, you try to fix that. You try to do better. And it's the same way with art fairs. Have patience with yourself and with the shows, and it can be so incredibly profitable. If you'd like to learn more art fair tips, you can watch this video. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.